Okay, so we have these cam bolts. I don't think the manual says to use Loctite, but I like to use Loctite on cam bolts. So I'll put a little bit on the 3 of these bolts. It's a pain to get the chain on, so I say just take out one bolt at a time. Leave at least 1 bolt in there as you put some Loctite on the cam bolts. I believe you torque them down to like say 15 or 18 foot-pounds. I had it somewhere, but check the manual if you want to know the exact specs. So make sure you put some Loctite, so that way they don't back out. So there we go. There's the Loctite. That's the one that I use for stuff like cam bolts, rod bolts, anything that I want to make sure stays in place. Any bolts that I think are mission critical, that I do not want them to come back to loosen up, I put Loctite. So I believe this is supposed to be torqued to 18 foot-pounds, but I have it set at 15, but that way you can see. Alright, so make sure that you use Loctite. The manual won't say to use it, but I recommend you use it. So we're going to install the front cover, and what you want to do, this is where the seal goes, the front seal. You want to put oil just around it here, and then you'll pop it in, and then we'll line this up. So that's second. We have the seal here on the front cover, and we do have a tool. So
let's see what happens.
Looking like it's almost
there.
Almost there.
Yeah. You can hear the difference. Will it spin or no?
Oh, got it now. Okay, so we have the front cover seal on. I don't know what it's called, but we have it on. We're putting on the oil pan bolts. You may have to leave the oil pan to last. You have to put the front cover on, and then back here you have to put the rear main seal and the rear cover on before you put the oil pan on. Otherwise you have to back out the bolts. So you see here the you have to start all of these, but don't tighten them. You gotta leave a little bit of play on all of your bolts for your rear timing cover and for your oil pan. Otherwise you're not gonna have an easy time.
The gaskets won't line up.
The oil pan gasket won't line up, and the other gaskets won't line up. So you have to start the bolts, but don't tighten them, not until you've got everything to line up. Do want to point out that we now have the short block is complete. Pistons are in, the rings are spaced out correctly. The windage tray is on, the cam is in, the cam gear and timing chain is on, the oil pickup tube, the gaskets, front cover or rear cover, and the oil pan are all on. Everything is on. We did pin the crank, and you can't see it. We already installed the bolt to over 230 pounds of torque on the bolt, but we pinned it because that was our issue. That's why we took the LS2 out of the Corvette, is because the other harmonic balancer spun. We're torquing the bolts for, I guess, again, like I said, the flex plate. And if you look over here, here's the torque pattern, which we also have on there on the flex plate. You need to go up to a total of 75 foot-pounds, so that way obviously your flex plate remains attached to your crank. So that's what we're doing, and then we'll attach the one other piece that goes to the torque tube.
So the first the reason we put these numbers here is that's the torquing pattern. That, you know, it takes a little bit of time to number them, but once you've numbered them, you just go in that order.
Yeah.
The first pass is 15 foot-pounds, the second pass is 37 foot-pounds, and the final pass is 74 foot-pounds. So
yeah.
that was 37. Now we're on to 74.
We got the sharp block assembled. We got the flex plate and the harmonic balancer are installed. And so now we're gonna take the time to get the LS2 back in the engine bay. And this is the first time I install one in a C6. I did it in a Nova, so I expect it'll take some time. So if there's anything important, we'll be sure to film it. So this is our next step, is getting it lined up to the motor mounts and to the bell housing, and making sure we get all the grounds. So just a friendly reminder, if you do any mods on an LS engine, always remember to get all your grounds. No grounds and you might not have anything happen.